If you believe that Black Lives Matter and you want to do the right thing to support it, but you're overwhelmed and confused by all the voices around you, keep watching to find out how a young YouTuber and a classic Hollywood film from the 1940s came together and helped give me some needed clarity. Hi, I'm Christine, and this is the video channel of Project FanCare, a nonprofit dedicated to teaching people how to use film, TV, and fandom to deal with depression, anxiety, and trauma. If you're new here, please subscribe and follow us on social media to keep up to date on our live events, as well as become part of the Project FanCare community. For the last few weeks, I've been in a kind of funk, not feeling like writing or shooting anything. At first, I thought it was just the normal you suck and nobody's going to watch anything you do kind of mindset that I get all the time.
I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong.
And when that happens, it feels pointless to create anything. But when I sat down with pencil and paper to sort of analyze what was going on, I realized something. In addition to being in my standard you suck mindset, I was also in what I have come to call my voice paralysis phase. For those of you who don't know, I have dealt with depression and anxiety all my life, and I got complex post-traumatic stress disorder from living with someone with obsessive-compulsive personality disorder.
You're always in my bathroom, hanging up my towels. Whenever I smoke, you follow me around with an ashtray. Last night, I found you in the kitchen, washing the floor, shaking your head and moaning, footprints, footprints.
I didn't say they were yours.
Well, they were mine, damn it. I have feet, they make prints.
If you want more details about that part of my experience, I've put a link to a video in the description box below so you can go and watch that. The primary symptom of my Cptsd was that I didn't feel like I had the right to think or feel anything that was different from what the other people around me thought or felt. It wasn't that I felt like I had to go along with a group to be loved. It was, I'm stupid, so nothing I think or feel is right, so I have to look to other not stupid people to find out what is the right thing to think or feel. Now, consequently, when what other people thought was right was in conflict with what I thought was right, I'd become paralyzed and not able to make a decision. And when I sat down to analyze what was going on now, I realized that something similar was happening. I feel strongly about and support the Black Lives Matter movement. But because I'm white, I didn't feel like I had the right to speak and drown out other voices. At the same time, the cancel culture on social media was saying, if you don't speak out on Twitter and Facebook, then you are part of the problem. People were even unfollowing celebrities if they didn't speak out vocally enough. Now, all I wanted to do was to do the right thing, but at this point, I wasn't sure what the right thing was. Now, add into that mix my core belief in forgiveness and redemption, and that people can change and they should be given the opportunity to, a belief which always clashes with the cancel culture. So while I may agree with them on a particular issue, I cannot subscribe to a worldview that throws people away for making a mistake. So here I was, wanting to speak, but not sure if I had a right to speak or if speaking was the right thing to do, and knowing that I'd be damned if I did and damned if I didn't. And when I realized that all this was going on inside, no wonder I was paralyzed. Now, understanding what is going on is the first step to dealing with it. And so now that I knew what was going on in my head, I did what I always do. I researched to find out if other people were talking about this. And I came upon a video by Roberto Blake called Advice for Creators Struggling to Post Content Right Now. Then I saw a video on another one of my favorite channels, Video Influencers, in which they interviewed Roberto Blake, talking about pretty much the same thing. Now, Blake has been one of my favorite YouTubers since I started making videos. Because he's knowledgeable and fun to watch, but he truly seems like a nice guy and somebody who cares about his audience and the world. And listening to him talk, I had an aha moment. Here was someone saying that lots of people, including himself, were conflicted about posting. People wanted to support the cause, but they felt like they had nothing of value to add to the conversation. Other people were scared of the mob mentality and cancel culture that's so much a part of social media. And some people didn't know how to handle something like Blackout Tuesday because they didn't understand the rules. And I had experienced all of this. But Blake encouraged content creators to post as long as it was well-intentioned and for the right reasons. We were going to get criticized for whatever we did anyway, so we might as well get criticized for doing the right thing. After watching this, I felt so much better. And I asked myself what Roberto said he asked himself when he was thinking about what to post. With my specific gifts, what can I post that will help my audience? Now, my audience is people who struggle with depression, anxiety, and trauma, and want to know how to use what they love to improve their mental health. So I asked myself, what might my audience need right now? And the answer I came up with, or at least one of them, was that they need to know that it's okay to be conflicted and confused. It's okay to be excited about the changes that hopefully will come, but also be scared of the violence. And it's okay to make mistakes as long as you're trying to do the right thing. My audience needs to know that none of us are perfect. And it's okay to say, I don't have all the answers, but I want to learn. And since what I do is talk about TV and movies, I thought, what movie that I've seen addresses this issue? And I immediately remembered one of my very favorite films, 1947 Best Picture winner, Gentleman's Agreement, directed by Elia Kazan, a person who himself was very controversial. You see, a few years after this film was made, Kazan testified in front of what was called the House on Un-American Activities Committee, and he gave them names of several of his friends that he knew had once been communists. Now, if you're not up on your 1950s history and you don't know what the House on Un-American Activities, McCarthyism, the Red Scare, the Hollywood Blacklist, if you don't know what any of things are, I put some links down in the description box below. But basically, the U.S. government became obsessed with the fear that communists were infiltrating all levels of government as well as industry. The House on Un-American Activities Committee was formed to investigate private citizens, and it put incredible pressure on them at the risk of losing their livelihoods to give them other names of suspected communists. Now, most reasonable people agree that what Kazan did was wrong, and he paid the price for it for the rest of his life. When he received an honorary Oscar in 1989, some people in the audience refused to applaud, and there were also protesters outside the building picketing. And this was for something he had done 60 years ago. Now, that brings up a topic for another video that I'm going to do soon, on whether that means I cannot watch and enjoy his films, especially when they include some of the best American films ever made, like On the Waterfront and Streetcar Named Desire. Now, I don't think it does, because I subscribe to a philosophy that separates the art from the artist. But, like I said, I'm doing another video on that soon, and that's where we'll talk about that. Now, to get back to Elia Kazan, almost every film he made was what was then called a message picture. And Gentleman's Agreement is the first of these. It tells the story of a writer assigned to do an expose on anti-Semitism and the discrimination he experiences firsthand when he poses as a Jew for several weeks.
Look, I'm Jewish and you don't take Jews. That's it, isn't it?
I never said that.
If you don't accept Jews, say so.
Don't raise your voice to me, Mr. Green. You speak a little more quietly, please.
Do you or don't you?
Now, one of the brilliant things about this movie is that it doesn't really explore overt discrimination. In fact, it assumes that the viewer is a good person who hates discrimination based on religion. What it does is expose the hypocrisy of so-called good people who say anti-Semitism is wrong, but keep quiet and don't speak up because they don't want to rock the boat. It even explores the attitudes of Jewish people who buy into anti-Semitism by thinking it's always better not to be Jewish.
You still can't believe that anybody would give up the glory of being a Christian for even 8 weeks, can you? That's what's eating you, isn't it? Now, if I tell you that that's anti-Semitism, your feeling that being Christian is better than being Jewish, you're going to tell me that I'm heckling you again, or that I'm twisting your words around, or that it's just facing facts, as someone else said to me yesterday.
The primary conflict in this film is between the writer, who thinks everyone needs to take direct action, and his fiancée, who hates anti-Semitism, but won't make a public stand.
You're not going to fight it, Kathy. You're just going to give in, play along, just let their idiotic rules stand.
I don't play along. But what can one person do?
You're going to tell them to go jump in the lake.
The conclusion the film comes to, or the message, if you like, is that prejudice is helped along by good people. People who say they're not prejudiced, but won't speak up because they don't want to upset their comfortable lives. But, and this is important, the film, while it does say that overt action and protest are important, it also says it's the little everyday things that people do that can make a difference.
Somebody told a story. Sure, a man at a dinner table told a story and the nice people didn't laugh. They even despised him for it, sure. But they let it pass. And behind that joke is Flumin and Darian and Tommy and those kids.
And if you don't stop with that joke, where do you stop?
Now, let's go back to how I felt a few days ago. I was in a you suck mindset, but I was also in voice paralysis because I wanted to speak out about Black Lives Matter, but I didn't know what to say or even if I had the right to speak. And I'm guessing a lot of other people were in the same boat. But what finally broke through all the noise was the combination of Roberto Blake saying it was okay to speak out with good intentions, even if someone might and probably would criticize you, and a classic Hollywood film that helped me process what I was feeling. Only after those two things came together did I find my voice again. Now, this is just one more example of what we talk about on this channel all the time. That film and TV and books, our stories, are important because they help us process things in a way that nothing else can. So if you're confused and conflicted right now, if you're thinking, what should I do and what's the right thing to do, you're not alone. Just remember that it's okay to be feeling what you're feeling, but also that you and I can make a difference by taking small, brave, concrete steps simply in the community that surrounds us.
No idea what you said.
It means if there's something wrong, those who have the ability to take action have the responsibility to take action.
There are so many questions I want to ask you right now. Are you feeling confused and conflicted? And if you are, what about? And what film, TV shows, or books do you recommend that address what we're all going through right now? If you like this content and want to make sure you don't miss a video, please subscribe. And if you want to watch more videos about how film, TV, and fandom can help with depression, anxiety, and trauma, check out our playlists.